Now we move on to this weekend's cards and UFC 175, the big show. And Stevie, I believe you're going to be there.
Yes, I'll be in attendance. I will be not there at first row like I was for San Antonio, but I will be there to watch it.
And there's some great fights on here. We should start at the bottom. Kevin Casey against Bubba Bush starts off the show, and I like Kevin Casey. I hope he wins this fight.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that he's he's in this position right now because he had been out of UFC for a while. He lost to Josh Simon at the Tough 17 finale. Then he went on a run and won the RFA Middleweight Championship. So I don't know if he vacated that title. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But I thought King Kevin Casey would be on the minor circuit for a while. I didn't think UFC would bring him back this quick.
Well, it's good to see him. It's on Fight Pass. So that fight, and also Zachrich against Vasconcelos.
I think that's Vasconcelos, but what do I know?
Another middleweight fight you can see on the Fight Pass there. And moving on to Fox Sports 1 for the prelims and Sportsnet 360 here in Canada. It's a pretty stacked card, actually. And they're actually promoting it up here as Chris Camozzi's fight to stay in the UFC. He's fighting Bruno Santos, who's coming off a loss. So, you know, they're both looking to make a statement because before Bruno's loss against Christoph Joko at the Fight Night Hunt in Bigfoot, he was 13-0.
Yeah. Well, Camozzi was on a 4-fight win streak before he ran into Jacques Souza and Lorenz Larkin, so I don't know if I agree with this theory that it's Camozzi's fight to stay in the UFC, because I think he'd probably get another fight after this.
I think they're saying that to get eyeballs on the prelims, to be honest. But
well, you know what? They don't need to say anything other than Uriah Faber, and that's all you need to tell people to get them to watch the prelims.
Yeah, George Roop and Rob Font kick off the prelim on Fox Sports 1, Sportsnet 360. Then you got Camozzi and Santos, Kenny Robertson and Ildemar Alcantara. And then the main event on Fox Sports 1, Uriah Faber and Bruce Leroy, Alex Caceres. I really don't like this fight. It's just, I don't like it.
Do you think Faber is too far above him in skill? Is that it?
Yes.
Well, that's why they fight the fights, though. I mean, Bruce Leroy might pull a stick out of his ass and beat him over the head with it.
That's like having, I'm trying to think of the Philadelphia Phantoms fight the LA Kings. I like Leroy.
You know what? The thing that's going to be fun about this fight is you'll never see two guys happier to get punched in the face than Faber and Caceres, because those two never stop smiling.
No, it's true. And if Bruce Leroy wins this fight, I mean, wow. Just, that's a feather in his cap right there.
Well, you know what? Since you're talking about how big of an upset this would be, why don't we actually go to the sports book, look at the line for this fight, find out just how much of an upset it would be, because I'm pretty sure if I get this website to pull up while I continue to bullshit here for a few more seconds, these are the lines that are actually set by our friend Nick Kalikas at Fight Odds. So I'm just waiting, and the site's not loading. Ah, man, it must be people betting on soccer. Is there another soccer game today?
No, it's not until July 4th.
For the next round, the round of 8.
Yeah, exactly. It's they take a couple days off to give teams some time off between fights or matches.
While we're waiting for the sportsbook to load, let me ask you really quickly: what did you think of the U.S. performance against Belgium?
U.S. has a good goaltender, and usually goaltending wins you championships, just like hockey. U.S. they seemed every shot it was too fancy. It was too much of a set play. It seemed like every shot they took went right to the goalie,
or rose above the net and went out of play.
Yeah, or they just missed. I mean, sometimes you got to be lucky to be good. And I mean, there was this one game, I forget who was playing, but it was in a shootout in the round of 16, and the guy needed to score to extend the shootout, and it rang off the post and went out.
Mm-hmm. That happens.
It happens, and you got to be lucky to be good. So the U.S. did a valiant performance. I put them right up there with Switzerland as a team that's on the rise, and give them a couple more years, and maturity and talent will develop more. They could be a force in 2018 in Russia. Yes, Russia is the next side of the World Cup.
Well, I believe they said Howard set a record for the World Cup for the most saves in a game.
Yeah, 16.
Yeah, it's amazing that he saved 16 shots on goal and they still lost 2-1. That's mind blowing when you think about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty crazy, and I'm not a big soccer guy, I'll admit that, but it's kind of fun to see the raw emotion from the fans and the players. And I mean, this year's World Cup has been very exciting. There's a lot of goals, and a lot of casual fans are getting more into it because there's actually scoring. It's not a lot of 0-0 draws and 1-0 games. I was afraid that's what was going to happen in the U.S. game, but there were, 3 goals in the extra time?
2 goals in the extra time. It ended in a tie, and the first goal came like 2 minutes into the extra time.
No, it was 2-1. It was 0-0. Wasn't it 0-0 going into the extra time?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was 0-0. There was a goal 2 minutes into the extra, or overtime, which... Define this for me, because I'm not the hugest footy guy out there.
Okay, so what happens
I know there's like penalty time that's added on to the end of the game. So when you say extra time, are you talking about the penalty time, or are you talking about the overtime?
Okay, so what happens is after 90 minutes and after the extra couple of minutes they give you for stoppage time, because people will take their time getting off the pitch because of injuries or whatever, stalls in play or whatever, they give you 3, 4, 5 minutes, whatever. If that still doesn't resolve the score, they give you 2 15-minute halves.
Right.
Time.
And what I'm trying to say is it wasn't the regulation time, like the regular time plus the penalty time. I'm saying like 2 minutes into the extra time, into that first bonus half, that was when Belgium got their first goal.
But what I'm saying is there were 3 goals in total because it doesn't matter. It's not sudden death in the extra time. They have to play 2 15-minute halves.
Right.
At the end of the extra time, it was 2-1 for Belgium, and they advanced. They don't go to a shootout. Game is over.
Yeah, and the drama was that Belgium got up 2-0 in the extra halves, and it looked like it was doomed for the United States, but they had this 19-year-old kid or 20-year-old kid, really young, like younger than Rory McDonald, I think, and nobody expected this kid to do anything. He was just kind of on the team because he was a prospect, and he comes out there and scores a goal, and everybody's freaking out and going, oh my God, the U.S. could tie it up. They could actually force a sudden victory, whatever the rule is for that. And it didn't happen, but it made for some drama.
All right, I've got the odds from 5 Dimes.
I've got them too, and it looks like Faber is a minus 1340 favorite.
Yeah. 1340.
To put that in layman's terms, to win $100 on Uriah Faber, you have to risk $1,340 of your own money.
I would almost be willing to put $20 on Bruce Leroy just on principle.
Yeah, at plus 725, that's awfully tempting.
It's very tempting, but it is not the highest odds. That's the scary thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to get to that. We're getting to that. Let's get there in order. Let's not jump ahead.
Yeah, let's not do that. Let's jump ahead. Let's go right to the next fight, and it's the first fight on the main card as Marcus Brimage fights Russell Doane.
I complained vociferously to Josh Nason about this because he sent us the picks that we had to make for Wrestling Observer. I'm like, why are we picking this fight? Nobody cares.
No one cares at all on this.
The only reason this fight is on the main card is because they wanted Faber on the prelims.
Exactly. That's the reason why. There's no other rhyme or reason for sure on this one.
And Josh Nason, to his credit, wrote back an answer that I can't fault. He said, Faber is going to get picked by everybody anyway, so there's no reason to pick it because we need a fight where we can actually have a difference of opinion.
And this fight's a very close fight. I'm going to go with Doane, but I hate to say this because I really don't like saying it. I'm going to say Doane by split decision.
I considered it a coin flip fight in my head. I flipped the coin a few times and saw which one came up the most. And 7 out of 10 times I saw it going to Marcus Brimage.
All right, well, there you go. It's going to be a good fight to open. I mean, if these two guys go to war and really bring us a slobber knocker type of fight, it could kick off the pay-per-view quite nicely.
The pick I'm really nervous about right now is Uriah Hall
Yeah.
because he's the Vegas favorite. He's minus 410. But Hall has shit the bed so many times that I'm not confident about picking him over Thiago Santos. And Santos, he's a reason he's a dog because he hasn't done so well lately. But man, if Uriah Hall doesn't beat him, that's trouble.
If you look up Jekyll and Hyde fighter on, an Urban Dictionary, what have you, you're going to see Uriah Hall's picture.
Yeah. All the potential in the world, but he has to learn to turn it on when it comes to the main events.
Exactly. Stefan Struve comes back to fight Matt Mitrione, which, boy, I really don't like Mitrione's chances on this one.
Well, the Vegas they don't agree with you because minus 155 to plus 125 is not a big split. Struve's a favorite, but he's not a heavy favorite.
Well, it's because Struve is coming back off injury.
Well, he's coming back off of surgery to repair a life-threatening heart condition.
Yeah, so this is his first fight back. Well-deserved main event slot for him for sure. Mitrione, you want to be the guy to fight Struve in his first fight back where Struve is pissed off for being on the show for so long?
Probably not, but the reason that Mitrione is given a chance in this one and the line is that close is because Mitrione has a really, really heavy hand, and if he puts it on you, you go to sleep. And Struve has shown a vulnerability to that in the past.
He has. That's why the odds are very close, but I still got Struve.
I picked Struve for Wrestling Observer. We'll see if that pans out.
Now we have to talk about Ronda Rousey against Alexis Davis.
And as you teased earlier, the line on this one is ridiculous. Rousey is a minus 1610 favorite.
Yeah. And if you go at some other sports books, the highest one I've seen is on Sportbet and Best Odds, where Alexis Davis is plus 1,006.
So what did that make Rousey as the favorite then?
Minus 891.
Wow. Okay, I would have thought if Davis was over plus 1,000, I would have thought Rousey would be minus 2,000.
Ronda Rousey's a minus 891 on Best Odds, but on Sportbet she's minus 1,504.
Yeah, anything under minus 1,500 for Rousey at this point seems low, and I guess that's good for me as somebody who's going to be sitting in the stands watching because as many times as I've seen Ronda Rousey do it on television, do it in seminars, do it on YouTube videos, I have never seen her armbar an opponent live during a fight in person. So my money on going to see this event is basically the fact that it's minus 1,600, which means Ronda Rousey should armbar this girl quick.
Now, if you parlayed Bruce Leroy and Alexis Davis on the same ticket, and they paid out, stakes are on Stevie J.
Oh, I'm not placing that bet. I'm not that insane. I don't see the chance of both. I mean, one of the two maybe, but I don't see both Bruce Leroy and Alexis Davis winning. Of the two, Alexis Davis probably has the better chance. The book may not say so, but I talked to Jessica I about this, and Jessica I fought Alexis Davis, and she said Ronda Rousey might be in for a surprise.
Davis has improved her jiu-jitsu, and there is talk of what happens if Davis takes her down and puts Rousey in the armbar.
Exactly. It's the bookmakers are probably thinking Rousey is unbeatable because she has looked unbeatable, but Jessica I was not a cakewalk fight for Alexis Davis, and if Davis has gotten better since then, it could be real trouble for Rousey.
As far as my prediction for this fight, I really want to go with Davis. You know, the whole Canadian thing, being the first person to fight to beat Rousey would be awesome. But I really can't pick against Rousey in this fight just because she's on such a roll right now. I don't. I mean, 9 times. Like if they fought 10 times, I would have Rousey winning 7, maybe 8. I'm not saying Davis can't win this fight. I just think Rousey wins, but I don't see it ending in the first round. I think this fight will go into the second, maybe the third.
Well, Misha Tate did take her to the third in their rematch, so it's
Yeah,
possible.
it is possible, but I really hate picking against Davis on this, and if she wins, I'm going to kick myself. But I got Rousey winning.
I do too, and I like Alexis Davis a lot, but I think Rousey is, like you said, too hot.
Speaking of too hot, it's bloody hot here in Ottawa. It's with the Humidex, Stevie, 40 degrees Celsius. So we're having temperatures in 104 territory here right now.
Don't even talk to me about being too hot in Ottawa because it's going to be 114 degrees in Vegas.
Yeah, but there's Vegas and then there's Ottawa. It's a much different climate.
Oh, don't give me this dry heat bullshit. Hot is hot. If it's 114 degrees, you're fucking miserable no matter what.
Well, speaking of hot, hot temperature, and this is going to be one of the hottest fights in the UFC this year because there's a lot of talk here about Weidman and Machida. Weidman, sorry. Um, if he beats Machida here, he is the Brazil killer. He is basically the man. If he wins this fight, his title win and title defense against Anderson Silva will not be viewed as a fluke.
Yeah. In fact, let me interject there because there's a photographer from UFC named Ed. Not Ed in San Antonio, but coincidentally his name was Ed. And Ed and I had some time to chat before the weigh-ins. And he's a hockey fan, and his son plays junior league hockey, which made for a great talking point because you and I talk about hockey all the time. So
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about hockey. We're talking about his son playing hockey. He's a goalie, and we're going back and forth about this and that. And we talk about the Lyoto Machida and Chris Weidman fight. And he's like, well, people think that the last 2 times Weidman won, it was a fluke because first Silva was joking around and then he got caught, and second Silva breaking his leg in that horrifying manner. I'm like, yeah, but it's not really a fluke because Weidman checked the kick at exactly the right time. He's like, oh, I know, I agree with you, but that's what people are saying. To which I responded, that's why I'm excited about being there next Saturday, because if Weidman beats Machida and does it convincingly, it's not a fluke and nobody can knock him anymore.
Exactly. As far as the fight is concerned, I don't know if this is going on a limb or not, but I don't see this fight going all 5 rounds.
I think it has that potential. I don't
Really?
I don't know that it will, but it has that potential because Machida has that very unorthodox striking style where he uses his karate movement and gets in and out and stays at distance and he hits you and doesn't get hit. I don't think Weidman's going to let the fight play out like that, but we've seen Machida do it to a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, it's just a mess, I think, because it's. I mean, if Machida wins, I would book the automatic rematch. But the thing is, I'm not the one making the matches because if you look at the UFC middleweight division, it's pretty stacked right now with Belfort and Souza and Rockhold. I mean, Silva's nowhere. I don't understand how Silva is still the #1 contender for the middleweight title. He hasn't fought since he broke his leg.
Well, that just depends on who's doing the rankings because he's not the number one in mine.
Well, you got Silva, Belfort, Machida, Souza, and Rockhold are your top 5. If Weidman loses the belt to Machida, I think you do the automatic rematch, and then you put Belfort and Souza in #1 contenders fight.
I can see it, but if I can get this stupid ad to close, why is it every time I go to the ranking page, it's always an ad blocking the panel? Okay,
Rockhold Kennedy would be a good fight too.
let me look at my middleweight rankings just so we can compare notes here. At middleweight, I guess I put Silva #1 again. I thought I had him lower than that, but I've got no wait. It just reloaded. Why does it do this? When I'm looking at it, it starts out with the overall rankings, and it takes forever to load my own rankings.
Yeah.
So here we go. I have Lyoto Machida number 1, Vitor Belfort number 2, Luke Rockhold number 3, Jacare Souza number 4, and Anderson Silva number 5.
I would like to see a Rockhold Kennedy rematch from Strikeforce.
I think so. In fact, I could see that very much happening in the near future. I could see the potential of it.
And when that last fight went to a decision, a 5-rounder in 2012, so that's not that far removed.
No.
I
think that fight also did one of the best ratings that Strikeforce ever did on Showtime.
Absolutely, but as far as the fight's concerned, I'm going to go with the champ here.
Yeah, I'm going with the champ as well. I think Weidman is going to be well prepared for the unorthodox striking of Machida, and I think when it gets right down to it, he's not going to let him stay at distance. If he has to take him down and work him over on the ground, that wrestling is no joke. I think he'll get him down.